My girlfriend's best friend thought I was a gold digger, not knowing I was worth millions. I'd been dating Layla for 3 months when she wanted me to meet her best friend at this Italian place downtown. My palms were sweating because Layla meant everything to me, and her best friend's approval was huge for her. Just warning you, she said, Josephine can be really protective. My ex pretended he was struggling with money but was actually bleeding me dry. Now she thinks every guy's gonna do the same thing. Little did either of them know I owned the restaurant we were dining at. I even had 7 across the country, but I'd learned money changes how people see you, so I kept my mouth shut and dressed casually. Josephine arrived late, and the way she looked me up and down made it clear she'd already formed her opinion. She wore this designer dress that probably cost more than most people's rent, and her smile was the kind that didn't reach her eyes. After the initial introductions and awkward hug with Layla, we all sat down, and the waiter handed us the menus. But before I could open mine, Josephine reached over to help me with it, turning the pages like I couldn't manage it myself. I had to hold back my laugh knowing I approved everything on the list. When the waiter came back, she ordered for me before I could speak, telling him to make sure my pasta wasn't too spicy, because this one has a sensitive stomach. She grabbed my hand for a handshake and announced it felt like a dead fish, then looked me in the eye and asked if I ever carried Layla's shopping bags, or if I was the type who let women do all the heavy lifting. Throughout dinner, she kept pointing at me directly, commenting on how I held my water glass with both hands like a child, how I dabbed my mouth instead of wiping it like a man, and asked if Layla felt safe walking alone with me at night since I clearly couldn't protect anyone. Josephine then leaned forward and stared directly at me, saying this was probably the nicest place I'd ever eaten, that before Layla, I was probably surviving on dollar menu items and ramen. The irony killed me since I ate here 3 times a week at my own chef's table. She pointed at my clothes and said Layla must have bought me my one decent shirt, the one I obviously couldn't even be bothered to wear tonight. You literally wouldn't be sitting here without her, she said, pointing her fork at me. You probably think Olive Garden is fancy dining. Tell me, when's the last time you paid for anything yourself? Things got worse when she started comparing me to every successful man she knew, listing their achievements while staring at me with pity. She talked about her brother who'd just made partner at 30, her ex who owned 3 companies, and Layla's other options who were waiting in the wings. She showed Layla dating profiles of doctors and lawyers who'd messaged her, suggesting they do a girls' night soon to explore possibilities. Layla finally escaped to the bathroom, and Josephine moved even closer, calculating on her phone how much I'd cost Layla over a lifetime. She shoved the screen in my face, her voice dripping with disgust as she called me a leech who had drained Layla dry. Then the waiter approached, looking nervous, and whispered something in my ear about a problem in the kitchen. Without thinking, I responded, tell Adrian to use the backup vendor list in my office and make sure he knows not to accept anything below our usual standard. As the waiter turned to leave, he asked, will you be visiting the new location tomorrow, sir? I said I'd be there after lunch. Josephine's hands started trembling. Your office? New location? The pieces clicked together in her mind as she stared at me in horror. Layla returned to find Josephine's face bright red, her hands shaking as she knocked over her wine glass. I'm so sorry, I didn't know, I thought, she stammered, unable to finish a sentence. She frantically tried to explain she was just protecting Layla. I made such a fool. Of myself, she whispered, tears forming in her eyes. She begged me not to ban her from my restaurants. Actually begged. As we left, I finally spoke to her directly. My mother did teach me well. She said real men don't need to announce their worth. She nodded, too mortified to speak.